Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Ignite After Dark class, session 10. Keep every lead. So I asked everybody to drop into the chat where you coming in from. To my surprise, I got some Chicago love in the house. Used to live in Chicago, lived in Lincoln Park, went to high school in Deerfield. I may have told you that last week if anyone's still here from last week. Um, and got a lot of love for Chicago. Wanted the Cubbies to pull it off, but they went down to the Braves. And now I live in LA and I hate the Dodgers, being a San Francisco Giant fan. So I'm pulling for Milwaukee all the way, even though they're down 0-2. All right, well, guys, welcome to tonight's Ignite class. Again, session 10, keep every lead. Um, you know, there's so much to say about leads. They are the foundation of our real estate business, and our goal, once we generate them, is to be able to keep every single one of them in our database and then communicate with them systematically, automatically, and service the business that comes from that. So I had some questions for you guys, or actually some statements and facts about leads that I wanted to make to you before we dive into tonight's content. My name is Anthony Rollins. I am a 20-year real estate veteran out of Los Angeles, California, currently with Beverly Hills office of Keller Williams, was formerly with the Keller Williams Santa Monica office, and I did have a 12 or 18-month stint at the KW Partners office in Overland Park, Kansas. So I have a lot of Midwestern ties, having gone to um, middle school and high school in Chicago, college at the University of Iowa, go Hawkeyes, and also then lived in Overland Park and back out in California. So I'm here tonight as your instructor. I was here last week, and I just signed up to teach another class next week because there was a blank spot there. So Matt, I am filled in that last spot that's non-tech related. And I just love being able to come on here and share knowledge and information and help you guys expand your thinking, help you guys expand your thought process, and help you guys start living in possibilities. What I love to say is that, we are all worthy and deserving of having this life by design that we all seek, right? There's some greater version of ourselves. There's some greater version of what we do than what we're currently doing that we're all after. And my guess is that that had something to do with why you guys decided to get your real estate license. So I'm here to be a part of the solution that helps you achieve success as a real estate agent. And like I say all the time, you're at the right company with Keller Williams. There is no better company that offers training and education, technology and support, and a value proposition that's wrapped in culture than Keller Williams. So you are at the right company. You are at the right place at the right time. So as always, I want you guys to make sure you have a pen and paper together, or you've got your AI notes going, or you can type them up on your phone. There will be some information I'm going to share with you guys that I'm going to want you to write down. So when I say, hey, write this down, it's worthy of writing down. All right, so getting to tonight's content, just a quick little, there we go. TCPA, Telephone Consumer Protection Act. You have to be careful who you call. You just can't call unsolicited people and ask them for real estate business. Be careful who you're calling. Know if people are on the do not call list, and make your calls appropriately in a TCPA friendly and compliant manner. That's my disclaimer about that. And one of the great ways to know or get around this is if you conduct lead generation strategies where people opt in, say like you have Facebook ads where people put in their information to receive information on a property or a guide or whatever it may be, those people have opted in to receive your information or whatever, your service or whatever it is you're providing. Those people are always okay to dial. And other than that, make sure that you have your list scrubbed against the D&C list, and you're making compliant calls and text messages and outbound AI dialer calls. All right. So as we look at this this time frame here, this timeline, real estate expert. Our goal at Keller Williams is to teach you how to become a proficient professional real estate expert, so you can then go out and service your clients at the highest level as a true fiduciary, right? And like I said last week, a fiduciary is meaning that I put your needs in front of mine first and always. And as a true fiduciary, we must remember and assume that the client knows nothing. Even if they sold a home last month or they bought one last year, we need to assume that the client knows nothing and teach them and educate them and inform them of what they need to know so they can make decisions that are in their best interest. And that's really what we do as real estate experts, right? We inform and we educate and we provide knowledge and value so people can self-discover what is in their best interest and make decisions accordingly. All right, so as we go from being a real estate expert, we have lead generation. And the first thing I wanted to just ask you guys is, who in the chat can tell me what the 3 L's are? Jennifer Wheeler, leads, listings, leverage. Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Awesome. Right. So, in fact, I'm just going to pause this here because I want to show you guys this again. And I'm going to drop this in the chat later on as well. But, real estate is just like anything else that's built around fundamentals, right? The fundamentals never get old, right? In baseball, it's hitting, catching, throwing, running. That's it. Basketball, shooting, passing, guarding, right? And we can never get away from the fundamentals. So if we look at this here, what we have is this is one of the foundational diagrams of Keller Williams that can be found in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the MREA. Regarding the MREA, if you have not read that book or you weren't given a copy when you joined Keller Williams, do yourself a favor and ask your team leader for a copy. You can get it on PDF. You can get an actual copy of the book, or you can get it on Audible or MP3. Listen to that book, get to know the contents, get to know the foundational content of the MREA. It's what this company is really all about. And it's got the tools in there on how you are supposed to build this real estate business that we're all here to learn about. So not reading the MREA is the equivalent of owning a car and not looking at the manual, the owner's operations guide, which most people don't. So they never really learn the functionality and what the car is totally capable of doing. They know aspects of it and they kind of learn by trial and error and by experience. And you can do the same as a real estate agent. And yet, what we know is that people have lived before us and success leaves clues. So why bother recreating the wheel when Keller Williams has done an incredible job of putting together the most rock solid fundamental systems and models on how to run a successful, profitable real estate business. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. And yet it's important that you be able to take knowledge in and, more importantly, implement that knowledge. So here you see everything starts with leads, right? Leads are foundational. From leads, we get listings. And then from listings themselves are a leveraged activity. And when I say leveraged activity, meaning that with the proper systems and models, a solo agent with maybe some admin level assistance would be able to handle 10, 15 plus seller listings. On the flip side, it would be very difficult for you to manage more than 5 or 6 buyer clients at a time. Both are possible with leverage, and yet seller listings give you more of a leveraged opportunity because you get a sign in the yard. You get calls coming in from that sign. You get open house opportunities. You get to prospect from Circle Prospecting. You get to send out just listed postcards, under contract postcards, just closed postcards. You get to run Facebook ads over that. So all of these additional activities you have access to from listings. And what the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book tells us is that every properly marketed listing should give you 1 to 2 additional transactions, be it one from a buyer or an additional listing. So that's kind of what they call stacking listings, right? Or what I like to call listing alchemy, right? Turning 1 into 4. So the 3 L's, and the last part here is everything starts with how we think. First, we must be able to think a million before we can ever earn a million. And then we move to net a million. And then ultimately we have an opportunity to receive a million. And this is from building a 7th level business, starting with us you as the solo agent being level 1. And then there's actually one above receive, and that's give a million. And, for those people who like to think big, it's out there for you. And there are opportunities for you to reach this pinnacle here by following the models that we teach you here at Keller Williams. All right, going to get back to the content there. Okay, so what I wanted to say about leads, when it comes to lead generation, there are 2 main problems to consider, and you're going to want to write this down. When it comes to lead generation, there are 2 main problems to consider. One, I either have a lead generation problem, or 2, I have a lead follow-up problem. And that's what it is. It's 1 or it's 2. So if you guys want to throw in the chat just to get an idea of who's on with me tonight, would you say you have a lead generation problem or a lead follow-up problem? Ryan's got follow-up. Everyone else has got, okay. Looks like most people, like I would figure with you guys being newer agents, are going to have a lead generation problem. You don't have enough leads, right? And until you have enough leads, nothing else matters in the business, right? You don't have enough leads, like that's the life source of your business. Your business will dry up, wither, and die like fruit on the vine without enough leads. So lead generation is crucial. And it's part of the agent 20%. And yet, here's what I'm going to tell you. If I had to become a master of one, I might actually become a master of lead follow-up. Because you can come across leads in spite of your effort. Opportunity is everywhere if you know how to look for it. But here's the thing. The fortune is in the follow-up. The money is made in the communications after a connection is made. So it's not really about lead generation because it's easy to turn the faucet on. It's harder to control the flow of water and get it to go where you want it to go. So if there's any muscle that we really want to build, I would build the muscle of lead follow-up. Because if you're doing the right activities, opportunity is going to hit you in the face if you're out there doing the right activities. And yet your ability to successfully communicate with leads over time until they're ready to transact and stay front of mind in doing so, that's going to determine your success as a real estate agent. All right. And then we've got lead follow-up, which is what we just finished talking about. And that leads to transactions. So this I like because this really just simplifies what we do as real estate agents. And in fact, I want to give you guys the agent's 20%. And this comes from Pareto's principle, which is the 80-20 rule. And I know we talked about that last week in the class, and that Vilfredo Pareto was an Italian physicist or economics. He was, economist, yes. And he noticed this correlation that 20% of the farmers farm 20% of the crops, 20% of the people own 20% of the land, 20% of the olives produced 80% of the olive oil. And he just saw that this was consistent, and that was it. And the 80-20 rule is consistent throughout throughout the world, throughout life, throughout existence. And it used to be that 20% of the agents were doing 80% of the business. In the last 5 years, that number has crept to where it's more like 10 to 15% of the agents are doing 85 to 90% of the business, which is why there's a majority of real estate agents in the last 12 months who haven't sold a home. So are you guys at the right place at the right time? Yes, you are. Are you going to succeed? Well, that's going to be up to you, and separating yourself from that 85% of people who haven't sold a home by being committed to doing the right activities. So what we've identified as far as the real estate agents 20%, right? The 20% of activities that are going to give you 80% of your desired result. And the 80% of those activities is what you ideally would leverage off of your plate, first and foremost through systems and models, and then secondarily through leverage in the form of people, right? So we have systems, tools, and people in our form of leverage. So the agent's 20%, you're going to want to write this down. Lead generation. Number 2, lead follow-up. Number 3, setting and going on appointments. Number 4, negotiating contracts. And number 5, daily script and role play. So in that regard, again, lead generation, lead follow-up, setting and going on appointments, negotiating contracts, and daily script and role play. So I would say that obviously, if you don't have any deals, you're not negotiating contracts. If you're not setting an appointment, then you don't have any to go on. So that leaves 3. That leaves lead gen, lead follow-up, and daily script and role play. And your job as a new agent is a commitment to doing all 3. And I would almost have you lead with daily script and role play, because until you know what to say, how to say it, and when to say it effectively, your efforts around lead generation are not going to be that effective. If there is fear around you picking up the phone, or you knocking on the door, or you talking to strangers, we're going to need to get you over that fear so you can build some competency around what you need to be saying. Your real estate, communication has to be on. And the better it gets, the better you get, and the better your business becomes. And the better your communication skills around real estate become, the fewer people you need to talk to in order to set appointments. The fewer people you need to talk to set appointments means that you can talk to more and get more business, or you can have that time to pick your kids up from school, go to their soccer game, meet them for lunch, meet your husband for lunch, meet your significant other for lunch. You get your time back, right? So getting skilled in our real estate communication is paramount in our success at lead generation. All right, any questions on that? The lead generation, lead follow-up, setting, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, daily script and role play. If you're not role playing right now, get to the gym and start getting that in as an activity. There are role-playing groups, all over Facebook. You can find a accountability partner in your market center. You can probably throw something in the chat right now if you're looking for an accountability partner or a role play partner, and learn some of the basic fundamental scripts, right? Learn how to ask the right questions. When you're at an open house, are you having casual conversations, or are you having intentional communication? Right? It's easy to have a casual conversation and hope that at some point the right thing comes up. And yet, When we're intentional about our communication, we can ask questions that reveal an opportunity that allow us to close for an appointment. Questions that help reveal motivation and time frame. And you want to write that down as well. Motivation and time frame. When you're talking to someone about real estate, that's what we want to establish first and foremost. What is motivating you to do what you want to do, and what is your time frame to have it done? When we know motivation and time frame, we can then craft a specific solution that solves their problem. And that's really what we do outside of informing and educating, is that once we know what someone's situation is, then we become the doctor and we write them a personalized prescription for what ails their real estate needs. Their need to no longer be a renter, or their need to get out of the small house and into a bigger one because another baby's on their way, or their need to downsize because the last kid just left for college. So when we ask the right questions, we can then craft solutions that fit people's specific needs and then earn the business. All right. So again, today's session 10, keep every lead. This is the first of 3 lead related courses here in Ignite. And again, you either have a lead generation problem or you have a lead follow-up problem. And the other thing that I want to say about that is that it's not the leads that suck, it's typically our follow-up. And you guys are going to hear things like, well, open houses don't work, Facebook leads are never work, this kind of lead doesn't work, that kind of lead doesn't work. And you know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy if that's your belief. If that's your belief, then they don't work. I know people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars doing nothing but Facebook leads. Same thing, doing nothing but open houses. So it's not the leads that suck, it's our follow-up that's incomplete and that needs work. And everyone has leads in their database that are going to transact, and that even though those leads are old and they're cold and no one's talked to them, there's still opportunity in those leads. And when we get to the point where we do have enough leads, real estate agents tend to want to always go after new, shiny, fresh leads and abandon the leads that they generated in the past. We have to look at what opportunities exist inside of our circle before we go exhausting our efforts looking for opportunity outside of the circle. There's always opportunity in front of us. There's always opportunity in the database. It's your job as an agent to stay in contact with people until they are ready to transact. And when they are transact, we have the greatest opportunity because we have remained front of mind with them. All right, so today's agenda, we're going to be talking about lead follow-up. We're going to talk about how to lead follow-up. We'll talk about post lead follow-up, and then we'll recap with a couple of ahas. Okay. This is a good chart here. If you guys have an ability to screenshot, I would screenshot this because this is important here. This is the lifeline of a lead. And what we have here at the peak of these circles is when a lead in your database moves. And now it's basically every 7 to 10 years, homeowners move. If we go back to before 2020, maybe even 2019, maybe from 2000 to even 2015, 16, and prior to that, it used to be every 5 years. And yet, as homes have gotten more expensive overall, I think that's a factor in why people stay put longer and don't move as often. So what we have here as a top is the 7 to 10 year cycle when people move. What we have here at the bottom is for how long we need to be in communication with these people until they move. right? And at the very bottom here, this can be the valley of despair, because if you're not really communicating with your clients, you have no idea when this is taking place, right? If you're not communicating with your clients through the curve, through the low point and up and through the upswing, you're not going to know when they move. Now, here's another stat about moving that you want to write down. Every year, somewhere between 5 and 8%, call it 5% of your database of the people in your phone are going to transact. Now, if your phone's full of people who aren't financially capable of moving right now, or they're college graduates, or, not quite of the age group of home buyers, that wouldn't be the case. But typically, 5% of the people in your database, 5% of the people in your phone are going to transact. That means 5% of your database lives here. The other 95% is living somewhere down here. And our goal is to systematically and automatically stay in communication with the 95% by providing value, knowledge, and information to where when they are ready to transact, we have the highest opportunity to do so because we have remained front of mind. And you want to write this down too. Going back to 2021, let's see, it was, I think, yeah, as of 2021, 73% of buyers only talk to one agent, and 82% of sellers only talk to one agent before offer. Those are good stats for us. All that means is that we just need to be number one or number two to have a chance. The downside of that is that if you're number three or number four, you're not going to get a chance. This is the importance of communication below the peak, right? Anyone can service the client when they raise their hand. And yet, who has the discipline to be consistent in their communication in the lulls? So when it's time to make a real estate decision, you're front of mind. Now for 2024, I just heard these numbers last week. And Jason Abrams, he was in LA for a 3-hour seminar. It's 79% of buyers in 80. No, let's see. It's 82% of sellers and 79% of buyers. I only talked to one agent. So if those odds were in Vegas, those odds are in your favor. Those odds are set up for us to be able to win. The numbers for the sellers in 2021 was 82%. And then for 2024, it's 81% of sellers, 79% of buyers. So the buyer percentage actually went up over a 3-year period. It just means we need to be one or two. That's why lead follow-up, if that's the muscle that I would focus on building, I would focus on that. And why? Because I'd rather have fewer leads and better follow-up, because nothing's going to fall through the crack. And I've seen it. I've seen it in my own business. I've seen it on a team business where, we had so many leads coming in where, it was just like we were getting drowned by leads. Like we had to literally bail leads out of the boat because the boat was going to sink because we just had too many leads. Once you turn something on and you don't have the ability to channel the flow, it just becomes overwhelming. So I would know lead follow-up is this game here. You master this game here, you won't miss any opportunities in lead generation. And then that's a skill set that you can improve as well. Any questions on any of this here? All right. So lead follow-up as a framework, we go from possible business to probable business to profitable business. And by implementing systems and models in our business, we also go from probable to predictable. And that's where we want to be, because I'm going to go back to this slide here, right? Inconsistent lead generation also follows a path like this, right? Oh, I got some leads. I got some leads. Hey, I got a buyer. Hey, I'm in escrow. Hey, I forget about lead generation. And then, whoa, man, I haven't gotten paid in 4 months. I might have to go back and get a JLB. Oh, wait, I got a lead. Oh, they're buying. Hey, I got a transaction. Oh, but I've stopped lead generating. So look, my business goes down here. And this is the typical path of an agent's business that doesn't lead generate consistently. Someone who lead generates consistently has a business with a trajectory like a plane that takes off, right? There's just a gradual ascension. And when we can take possible business and turn it into probable business, and then through consistency create predictable, profitable business, well, then that's it. And that happens through lead follow-up, right? Lead follow-up is essentially the plug that keeps your lead generation boat from sinking. If you aren't first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business from the millionaire real estate agent. And I just gave you guys the stats on that. So why is it important for us to have a strong lead follow-up game? Because it gets us in the best opportunity to be first or second. And then at that point, once we're able to set that appointment and go on that appointment, like I said last week, our goal is not to go on appointments to get the listing or to get the buyer contract signed. Our goal is always to go meet someone face to face and connect with them on an emotional level that instills confidence and trust. And once we build confidence and trust, then signing a contract is just the next step. And when you can instill confidence and trust, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, how many homes you've sold in this neighborhood. Doesn't matter if you've been in business 6 weeks, 6 months, or 16 years. You instill confidence and trust, it's a done deal. And we instill confidence and trust by having competency of scripts and dialogue. Because when we have competency, we have confidence, and we can project our confidence onto the client. That's how the client, and that's how we instill confidence and trust. We project it onto them through our knowledge of script and dialogue and having canned presentations. All right. Any ahas in our first section before we move on? I always like to get at least one aha before moving on. That way I know that I'm delivering some good content to you guys, or working hard to do so. Anyone got an aha for me?
So I had a coworker that kept saying that they were going to buy a house on their own. They weren't going to use a realtor. Well, they went and bought a house without using a realtor, and they have been calling me nonstop, asking me all these questions. And I just keep telling them, I was like, I wish you would have used me because I'd be able to help with all this. But unfortunately, I can't help you with those problems.
Yeah. So, people are going to do things because they think that that's the best path, right? The person who wants to sell their home on their own, they want to save money by not paying a commission, right? That's okay. I get it. I understand that. Someone who wants to buy a home and not use an agent, I don't know if, outside of thinking you're going to work directly with the listing agent and be able to take 2.5% off the price. Well, that's an equation that a lot of people, use, and yet the listing agent's being hired and paid for by the seller, right? So it's impossible to be impartial when you're being hired and paid for by the seller to negotiate on behalf of the buyer. There are some times when working directly with the listing agent, you can put a deal together, and yet for the most part, as a listing agent, I do not represent both sides unless it's a rarity, because it's the best way to wind up in court, and it's also the best way to not be impartial and be accused of wrongdoing because you did both sides of the deal because you wanted to get paid twice. So, all right, so let's see here. Lead follow-up, script and role play rehearsal, set the appointment, motivations and timeline. That's it. Motivation, time frame. Those are the two. Once you know that, you can put the rest of the puzzle together. If you don't know motivation and time frame, then you are wasting your time. If you take a listing from someone and you don't know why they're selling it and the time that they need to have it sold, there's no motivation. And you may be excited to get a listing, but that excitement wanes when the listing that's overpriced is sitting on the market and the seller's hounding you and there's nothing you can do because it's overpriced, and yet you wanted the listing, so you took it. Okay, Miriam, I was reading last night about people nowadays using ChatGPT instead of a realtor. Yeah, everyone's using chat, right? We know that. If you're not using chat, you should be using chat. And we've got some courses at KW, and rolling out some AI courses to help get our agents on board with how to leverage chat. In fact, I'm going to, if I don't drop it in the chat tonight, no pun intended, I do have a list of best practices from Jason Abrams' session last Monday about how agents should best be using chat. So we have to expect that our buyers and sellers are using chat, and that we need to be able to have conversations with them, in regard to how we're leveraging chat to help them find the home and negotiate price on their behalf as a buyer, and as a seller, how to confirm market activity and the nuances of market activity, and how to best price their home to get it to sell quickly and for the most amount of money. But people will not be substituting ChatGPT for a realtor. They said that when the internet came out. They've said it before, and there will be a small percentage of people who will buy a home point and click like they do on Amazon, but it's going to be a small percentage. It's too big of a deal. It's the biggest financial decision that the majority of people are going to make in their life, and they want a human involved in that decision-making process. Trust me. So we have to know how we fit in a world of evolving technology and things like ChatGPT and AI, right? We want to be the tech-enabled agent as opposed to just technology driving someone's decision-making. Okay, for things to change, you have to change. Yes, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. That's a bold law. It's all about your perspective, right? You don't know what you don't know. And then when someone introduces you to something, then your perspective changes and it evolves and it expands and it never goes back to the way it was before. So as you know anew, now you see anew. And as you see and know anew, you can now do anew. That's why we must always be seeking knowledge, right? We must always be expanding our knowledge base. What are you listening to every single day? If you guys aren't listening to the MREA podcast with Jason Abrams, start doing it. It drops every Monday. The one-page playbooks are emailed out every Thursday. You got to start listening to that podcast if you're not. There's 100+ episodes, so you got enough to keep you busy for a while. You listen to those podcasts, and your knowledge base as an agent is just going to start expanding, and it's going to help you get where you want to be faster. All right. Well, moving right along. How to lead follow-up. So before we talk about that, I just kind of wanted to read here from the from the book there. It says, "What is a lead?"
Hi, Anthony. Sorry to cut you off. Do you mind putting that podcast in the chat or repeating it?
I can sure do that right now.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll just stop here. MREA podcast. In fact, I'm going to do a little better than this. I'm going to pull up something here and drop it in the chat as well for you guys. So if you just give me a break here, let me get to this, because we have several Keller podcasts that are worthy of your time to be listening to. Yeah. Okay, where are my podcasts? Where are my podcasts? Another good real estate podcast to listen to would be Tom Ferry podcast. And then if you're wanting to learn more about, the investment side of real estate, Bigger Pockets is a great podcast. Okay, do I have that? All right, I don't know if I have that slide here. I don't think I have it. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I do drop it in the notes that I send to Alana. I will make sure that that slide is in there. That's got all the Keller Williams podcast. So, oh, here it is. Hey, hey, hey. All right, let's do this. All right, I'm going to drop this in. Okay. Coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up, coming up. So there's the MREA podcast. There's the One Thing podcast with Jay Papasan, who is the co-author of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book and the One Thing book. There's also The Color of Money. And then lastly, there are Empire Builders. And here we go. Oh, come on, it's not dropping. Okay. All right, it's not downloading. I'm going to have to get it to you guys later. Sorry about that, but I will definitely get it to you. Yes, Tom Ferry and Bigger Pockets. All right, well, moving right along here. Back to what is a lead? Someone who has shown interest in the services you offer and with whom you may have a one-way conversation. What is lead follow-up? Think of the leads you enter in your database as your possible business. Lead follow-up helps turn the leads from possible business into probable business, with the end goal being a profitable business. And like I said, a predictable business. When we can bring predictability to our life, we make our life easier, right? Because we're all creatures of habit, right? We don't like uncertainty, right? The world doesn't like uncertainty. The economy does not like uncertainty. We as human beings do not like uncertainty. And yet, without regular, consistent lead generation in your business, you're going to have an inconsistent business. Okay. 19 to connect here. So this 19 to connect, when I joined Keller Williams way back in 2007, it was actually called like an 8x8, which was 8 touches over an 8-week period to cement the relationship. Any idea why it's gone from an 8x8 to 19? Throw in the chat if you have an idea why it's gone from 8 to 19. Why do we as real estate agents need to make more communications and connections with the same lead over the same period of time in order for us to anchor that relationship? That's right, Lindsay, because people are distracted, because they're being bombarded, right? We're on our cell phones all the time. We've got ads and banners and dings and bings and all these things coming at us 24/7. It's so hard to capture mind share. So back in 2001, when this book was originally written, we were just kind of getting, into cell phones and internet and things like that. So 19 to connect, to help kind of diffuse the chatter. And what does that look like? That's 4 touches, a quarterly phone call, 12 touches with a monthly email, monthly newsletter, market report or video. If you guys aren't doing video, consider doing video. So we're still at an 80-20 rule with video. 20% of agents are using video. It may be a little bit more, but there's still a lot of agents that don't. Years, even decades into video being the thing that you should be doing. Same thing with video as far as follow-up. You got to be consistent with it. I tell you what, there's 40 people on this call right now. The 20%, 8 people, 16, excuse me, the 16 people, 16 people out of the 40 on this call will start doing video. And I can promise you those 16 people, if they do video consistently, will see better results than the other 24 who aren't. 2 touches from promotional direct mail, such as magnet, calendar, printed market report, etc. And then 1 touch is an annual event party, movie screening, or get together. So this is the 1 touch. This is a client event. And if you don't have enough clients, like, you know, what does that look like for your sphere group? Right? As we think about where our business is coming from, everyone in their database has a short list of people who know, like, and trust you at a high level, want to see you win, and will help you succeed. Those are people that you need to tag accordingly and consider them to be your VIPs. And your VIPs, you're going to get to know at a deeper level. If you do know them at a deeper level, then great. Then you just need to hook up with them and let them know, hey, I got a goal to sell 10 houses next year. I'm gonna need your help. Who do you know that may be looking to buy, sell, or invest that I can call today? Take them out for lunch. Figure out how you can help them, how you can help grow their business or help them in their life. It's the law of reciprocity, right? When we come from contribution, when we give contribution, the law of reciprocity says it comes back to us. So we have to be able to identify who are the people on the short list that want to see me win, because those people have a database, and in their database, 5% of them are going to transact. So if you only had 4 or 5 people in your database who know, like, and trust you at a high level and want to see you win and succeed, they will go out of their way to refer you business. And like I said on a call this morning, having a VIP list of 4 or 5 people to refer you business, those 3 or 4 or 5 additional transactions can either make a year, take a sucky year and make it good, take a good year and make it great, and take a great year and make it your best year ever. And that's business that we don't have to work for. So we just need to create that system and have those communications and go deep with a handful of people who want to see us win, show them and train them. How do you help me? How do they help you to win? And then let them help you win. All right. I want to show you guys this, and I'm going to drop this in the chat. As far as these 4 touches, this quarterly phone call. Now, have you guys heard about the DTD2? Yes, no, maybe. Yes. All right. Do you guys have a copy of the DTD2 like this? Okay. So what this is do the database too. What this means is that, and this ingenious system was created by a gentleman named Steve Schulter, who has a MAPS class about a business that's based on referrals. So what this is that this is launched every quarter. So January 1st, April 1st, September, let's see, August 1st. No, let's see, April, May, June, July, and then October. So on July 6th, which is the first week, right? Do the database too. You're going to call everyone in your database whose name either has an A or in a W in it. These are people you call that week. And then you're going to text the letter N. For the following week, it's B and E, and text the letter S. And then it just goes on and on and on. So every single quarter, by the time you get down to March 31st, you've touched everyone in your database, and then it starts again. And then it starts again, and then it starts again. So this is where your 4 quarterly calls come from. And this is how you systematically make that outreach. And if you do this, I don't care if your database has 50 people, I don't care if it has 500, I don't care if it has 5,000 in it. If you make quarterly calls to stay connected and to touch base with your database and provide value to them and stay front of mind, when they get ready to transact or when someone they know gets ready to transact, they are going to reach out to you, or you're just going to hit them at the right time, right? You're going to hit them when they're at the peak of the cycles that I showed you in the previous slide. All right, so this I am going to drop in the chat for you guys because I do have that. All right. So the 1-2 cement. A high touch that solidifies the relationship you've just established and opens the door for future interactions. The 1-2 cement should tell them about the service you provide. What's your value proposition? What's your elevator speech? We talked about this in my class last week, demonstrating your value, right? How do you articulate what it is that you do as a real estate agent? And how can you say so succinctly and effectively so people know what you do? And it's not, I help people buy and sell homes. That's not what you do. That's a part of what you do, but that's not what you do. And to make yourself stand out, that's not what you want to say that you do. So have an elevator speech where you can tell people about the service that you provide and how can you differentiate yourself from the other 1.4 million real estate agents that are out there. Your 1-2 cement should also help to set up a conversation for later. So when we have conversations with people and we end the conversation, we always want to end the conversation with, here's what happens next. We just don't want to end conversations and say, hey, it was great speaking with you. Okay, yeah, have a great day. We'll see you. We always want to be able to future pace that conversation and communication as to here's what happens next, right? Well, you say you want to buy a house and then sometime next year, great. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you on my calendar to follow up with you after the first of the year. And in the meantime, I'll be sending you some information on the market so you can stay abreast as to market activity. And I'm going to invite you to my upcoming home buying seminar so they know what to expect from you and you know what follow-up looks like. It also should help set up the conversation for later. So that's what I just said. That's the future pacing. Serve as a reminder of the interaction and tell them how to refer business to you. In the meantime, while you're saving some additional down payment funds and clearing up your credit, if you know of anyone who may be looking to buy, sell, or invest, please give me a call so you can connect them with me and I can help them. We have to be able to ask for the business. That was one of the big things that Jason Abrams said last week, is just there's so many communications that are happening and conversations that are taking place, but agents aren't asking for the business enough. All right, Lindsay, what did she drop? Committed to helping you or family buy or sell a home, whether it is buying or selling for the first time or retiring and moving into a new lifestyle. I'm here to meet your needs. Compassion filled with a helping heart. I understand that big changes can and do happen in life. Some are exciting while others are not. I want to help make any transition the smoothest for my clients. Amen. Right? When you have clarity on this is what your value proposition is. When you can articulate this is not, I help people buy and sell homes. This is what makes an emotional connection with someone. Having an understanding of these words here and being able to effectively convey those words. All right. And then lastly, we've got the 36 touches each year. 36 touches over a 12-month period. Once we've anchored and cemented the relationship, then they go on to a 36 to convert. The 4 touches, the telephone calls, it's this DTD2 that I just shared. 26 touches, bi-weekly email offering some type of information of value to the customer. If they're a homeowner, they can go on the market report out of command and either go on it monthly or go on it bi-weekly and receive market activity in their surrounding neighborhood. 2 touches, events, get-togethers, or parties. Again, if you have a small database or database that you haven't transacted with, there's still opportunity for you to host something where people can all come together, and then you can just move around and have conversations with people, right? It's almost like it's almost like reverse prospecting. Instead of you making 100 dials to have 30 conversations, you could invite 30 people or 40 people to a home buying webinar, get 15 to show up, and now you're presenting to 15. And if 15 people show up on a Zoom call or show up at your market center in the training room for a buyer webinar that you're conducting with your lender, trust me, you're going to close 20% of those people easily. If you're in front of the room as the authority figure presenting in a professional way with a canned presentation and a high level of script and dialogue and knowing how to answer questions, people are going to transact with you. And if you do a buyer's webinar for 15 people, even if they don't know, if they know someone, they'll be more inclined to refer you because now they've seen you in action. So those are leveraged activities. We don't have to have a past client base of 100 people to do this annual event, right? Do a buyer webinar. Do it online. Do it at your office. Have your lender come there. Have them kick in money for lunch. Have them kick in money for coffee and, I would say donuts, but I try to stay away from them. You know what I'm talking about. Demonstrate your value. Any questions on this? The leads, the 19 to connect, the 1 to cement, the 36 touch. Here's the thing. We can't over communicate with our database. We can definitely under communicate with our database and then miss people when they get to that peak when they're transacting. But if we're staying in communication with them and providing value, knowledge, and information in the valleys, when they get to the apex and they're ready to transact, we have the best opportunity to convert that business. All right. The fortune is in the follow-up. Again, if I had to master one, I would master lead follow-up. Because if you're just out there and you're seeking opportunity, you will come across opportunity. Your ability to follow up with that opportunity is where your money is made, hands down. Anyone can generate a lead. Anyone can generate a lead. But not everyone has a strong follow-up game. So that's the gym I would be spending my time in getting swole, is getting my follow-up game swole. All right. So some lead follow-up best practices. I did want to take the time and just kind of go through these and have you guys consider answers for these because these are important. These just kind of help us go inside, help us kind of, get reflective and introspective and really kind of start thinking about like, who are we? What are our values? What do I bring to the table as a human being and as a real estate professional? So number one, what are my strengths when working with people? How can I adapt the touches of 19 to connect to represent me? What are my strengths when working with people? We all have a unique superpower. We all have a unique superpower, and it's our goal to be able to identify what that is and feel confident in knowing what it is and then say, I choose to use my superpower in this way to have this level of impact. What are my strengths when working with people? How can I adapt the touches of 19 to connect to represent me? Number 2, what are some reasons I might have for contacting the lead? What are some touches to do before and after a phone call? Reasons you might have for contacting a lead. Well, if you're providing pertinent information, like we just had a drop in interest rates. My lender talked today and said he just locked someone in for about 6 1/8, and FHAs are getting locked in the 5s. So a little screenshot of what interest rates are doing may be of value to a first-time home buyer. An article that talks about what the fourth quarter and activity is going to be like, or what they're forecasting 2026 to be like. That is information of value. So if rates drop, hey, and someone's been thinking about buying, yeah, you want to reach out to them. Hey, did you know that the Fed just dropped rates and the mortgage rates were impacted, and now we can get a 30-year fix for under 6%? Or maybe we send out that touch proactively. Hey, this is Anthony with Keller Williams. Question: where would interest rates need to be for you to move forward with buying a home? And let those responses come in. And as those rates hit those people who responded, then you can start having conversations with them. 3, how am I using conversations to let the person know I am in real estate, how to contact me, and how to refer me business? Well, you can have conversations, like I said, you can have casual conversations and not even bring up real estate and think that, hey, I had a great call with this person. Did you ask for the business? No. Did you ask if they knew of anyone, including themselves, who may be looking to buy, sell, or invest that you could help? No. Well, then you had a casual conversation. Someone comes through the open house. You talk to them for 15 minutes. You think you have a great lead. Did you get their motivation time frame? Oh, no, I forgot. Okay, well, without motivation time frame, you don't have anything. And if you know motivation and time frame, like I said, you can put together that solution to help them. And yet, when you don't get that information from the open house, how many people have had an open house, had a great conversation with someone, and then they call them the next day and like they don't answer? Right? Happens all the time. If you're having intentional communication and asking questions to ascertain motivation and time frame to reveal an opportunity to allow you to close for an appointment on the spot, then that follow-up call is more likely to be answered. Hey, it was great meeting you. I just wanted to set that appointment for the buyer consultation with you and your wife. You guys said you'd be available either tomorrow at 5 or Wednesday at 6. Which one works better for you? Great. Just to confirm, both decision makers are going to be there. Great. Okay, I'm going to send you a calendar invite. I look forward to seeing you there. If for any reason you can't make it, please let me know and we'll reschedule. When you know motivation and time frame, you can do it all. So when you have canned script and dialogue, and you know script and role play and what sort of questions to ask, then you can be actively listening, right? Be active listening. When you know what to say, you don't have to think about saying it. You can listen attentively and then be able to respond accordingly. When is it best for me in my business to time block for lead follow-up? If you look at a lot of schedules for real estate, you're going to see this is probably sometime between 11 and 12, right? So typically it breaks down to lead generation takes place from 9 to 11 or 9 to 11:30. Lead follow-up is 11:30 to 12:30, depending on how that breaks down for you. And oftentimes, if you're following up on people who you weren't able to connect with during the day, your best time to do so is between 4:35, 5:30 and 6:30. And I got that from the guy that built my AI out. Through thousands and thousands and thousands of outbound AI calls, they were able to determine that the highest pickup rates took place between like 5:30 and 6:30. So when they set my AI up to do outbound calls, that's when the AI does outbound calls from 5:30 to 6:30, because that's the best the pickup rate. So I would be doing that. I would be doing my lead follow-up at that time because you're more likely to connect with people. And then I would also during the weekends. I have found that, 10:30 to 1:30 on a Saturday is a great time to catch people before they get too much into their weekends, when they're relaxed, when they're in a good mood, when they're open, sociable. That's a great time to connect with them. It's also a good time to door knock because people are home, they're relaxed, they're open, the garage door is open, they're out in the garden, they're drinking their coffee, that's a good time to approach people. How much time should I take to reach out to a lead? What will I do to hold myself accountable? What do I need to do to make sure this happens? So how much time should you take to reach out to a lead? It all depends, because time is the greatest asset that we have, and we can have goals to make phone calls and have conversations, and yet depending on who we're calling and how we're directing the conversation, it can go from we intended for it to be a 5-minute conversation, and the next thing we know, 22 minutes later, we're trying to get off the phone and we're not going to hit our numbers for the day because this one call took up 22 minutes when it should have taken 5 or 6. So we have to know how to be, how to control the conversation, how to take a conversation. Hey, this call is really about business, and just get to the point. Or how to cut someone off that's going on and on and on and on when the conversation is no longer meeting our needs and we need to move on to the next one. If we can't control our conversations, we can't control our time. And if we can't control our time, then our real estate business is like a car doing 80 with no brakes on ice. Good luck. What will you do to hold yourself accountable? You need an accountability partner. Accountability is where the rubber meets the road. All right. We can say we want to do things, but if no one's holding us accountable to it, we typically fall to default, which is not doing them. So spouses, partners make great accountability partners. Here's my goal, right? You got to tell your significant other what you really plan on doing, and let them hold you accountable. And then set up rewards. So if you win, everybody wins, right? If it's your significant other, then you two win. If it's your family, well, then we go on a trip or we do whatever, or we do something so everyone can share in the victory. You're single, but you tell your parents, hey, tell your parents, say, hey, you help hold me accountable. Like, what are your parents? What do you wish you could do for your parents? If they held you accountable and you had enough success, what would you do for your parents? That's the question. All right. Any questions on these lead follow-up best practices before we move on? Absolutely, yes. Your parents want to see you succeed too. So, all right, moving right along. Here's a breakdown of what this annual 19 to Connect looks like again. Just, connect with the leads quarterly. I showed you the DTD2. Offer something of value, ask for a referral. Depending on who the person is, you can ask for a referral. Someone that you don't know, I mean, you could still know, hey, is there anyone you know who may be looking to buy, sell, or invest? And typically those are going to be no's. But if you don't ask, then you're never going to know, right? And if you asked 199 of them said no, but the last person said yes, my sister, and then you sell the sister a home, you'll be glad that you asked. So get in the habit of asking. You can ask for business without sounding salesy if you're coming from contribution. The email newsletter, market report, and videos, 12 of these, right? And they just got this listed out here. 1 birthday card, quarterly market reports, 4 informative videos, 2 informative emails, and 1 neighborhood newsletter. And this can be mixed up however you want to do it. Last week's MREA podcast talked with a lady who has gotten, I think, 750 referrals in the last 5 years. Not 75, not 7.5, but 750. Like, it's just astounding. And the 2 things that she masters are home anniversaries and birthday cards. And when she sends out the birthday card, what she does is she goes to their social media page, if they have one, and she captures photos from their social media page for special events that they posted on, and then she creates a birthday card from that. Can you imagine the impact that receiving that kind of card would have coming from your realtor? Like, how did you get these pictures? Like this is incredible. Like, we don't have to do a lot, but when we can make thoughtful, impactful touches, right? That's what a high value touch is. A personalized birthday card that's got images from someone's social media page of special events that they posted on. That's how we deliver value and impact and stay top of mind. The market reports, those can come from either command doing the market updates. I'd send those every 2 weeks or every month. I wouldn't just do it quarterly. If I was door knocking an area, I would door knock quarterly market reports, or at the end of every quarter, do a market report to then send out to the database. So that's not so bad, right? Here's what's happening in Q1, or here's what's happening in Q4. As we head into 2026, here's how we wrapped up Q4 of 2025. Informative videos. Video's going to help you stand out. You do video right, you can generate a lot of leads from social media from doing videos, just in how you say, hey, drop a comment for, to receive this, or people comment, and you can engage people at a high level through videos. Actually, I like videos as far as being able to anchor and cement new leads. If you met someone at an open house and you just pulled out your iPhone and said, hey, this is Anthony. It was great meeting you at today's open house. I'm really looking forward to our buyer consultation on Tuesday at 5. I'm going to send you guys a calendar link. So be on the lookout for it, and please reply so that way I know that you received it, and you'll be confirming for the appointment. See you guys on Tuesday. If you have any questions, let me know. Cheers. Like, you send that out to someone after an open house, like they're gonna remember you. That's a high value warm touch. And the neighborhood newsletter, that's something that you could do every single month. So just depending on, how you want to slice and dice to get to these numbers, it's not what you do, it's the consistency in which you do it, and focus on value, right? And something I said last week that I got from James Shaw from the Pivot Shift Ahead group, which is also something that you guys should be checking out. Join the Pivot Shift Ahead Facebook group, and then you can hop on the call, which is at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, and then 5 a.m. Pacific. So James Shaw says, consistency without value is annoying. Value without consistency is anonymous. I'll say that again. Consistency without value is annoying. Value without consistency is anonymous. So when we're consistently delivering value, then we're nailing the head right on the mark. 2 promotional direct mails, local sports team schedule, annual calendar. Those are the 2. There's lots of things that you can do that would be a promotional direct mail that would be cost effective. And then again, this event, organized neighborhood park cleanup, it just depends on what that is. How deep are you in your community? Are you farming the area in which you live? Or like I said, your event could be a buyer webinar or seller webinar or, you know, an investor webinar. I would most likely start with a buyer webinar. You guys could do really well learning how to conduct a nice home buyer webinar where you can invite people, you can run Facebook ads. Like I said, get 30, 40 people to sign up. Maybe about 30 or 40% will actually show up. And then from that 30 or 40 that show up, you would expect to set appointments from 20%. So if you actually had 15 people on a call, on a Zoom call where you did a buyer presentation, you should expect to set 3 appointments from that. And then from those that didn't attend, when you follow up with them, you should be able to set another, appointments with 20% of that. So 20% of the attendees and 20% of the no-shows. All right, any questions on this? All right. So make an impact, focus on value. What did I say? Your value proposition, personal communication, using statistics and data. This is what's going on in the market. This is what interest rates are doing. Know your audience and speak to your audience. And that's something that ChatGPT can really help you with, and some things that I'm kind of coordinating. And at some point we're going to be teaching in the KW market centers is how you well, first, how chat asks you questions so chat can learn about you, and then you can give chat information that describes your ideal client, and then chat can create follow-up campaigns with text messages, emails, and scripts on how you would then communicate with your ideal client and basically speak to their listening. And when you're able to speak to someone's listening, like they're dialed into what you're saying. It's like back in the day when you actually had a radio station, you had to dial to get the station in, and it was just locked in. Same thing. When your communication is dialed in with your clients, your buyers and sellers, like you're on point. They're listening, they're responding, they're into you. That's how we make an impact. We focus on value. All right, lead follow-up communication, potential lead sources. We have calls in, calls out, community events, past client events, open houses, purchase leads. Those are leads you can purchase as opposed for like Facebook leads, which you don't purchase the lead, you purchase the ads, and then if the ads are effective, they generate leads. Social media marketing, client referral, traditional marketing. Traditional marketing is going to be, just listed, just sold. If I'm sending anything out in a traditional marketing piece, it's going to have a QR code on it. I wouldn't have any flyer or any postcard mailer. Don't send anything out that's static and that all they can do is look at it and either throw it away, which is what they'll most likely do, or stick it on the refrigerator. Have your marketing give them a MOFIR opportunity, MOFIR, make offer for immediate response. Interested in what your home would sell for. The 5 mistakes to avoid when buying a home. Webinar. Scan this code, register for our upcoming home buying webinar. Always have a MOFIR where someone can take action. They can look at something, click this website, go to this QR code, call this number, have that there. Because for people who want to take action, we want to set them up so they can do so. We don't want to send out static marketing. Your agent website, sign calls in, blogs, and newsletters. So some statements or questions. Why are you thinking about buying or selling? Tell me more. What will that do for you and your family? So this number one, why are you thinking about buying and selling? This this question reveals motivation. Why are you thinking about buying and selling? Tired of being a renter. My wife's pregnant with the second baby. We got to get out of this 1-bedroom apartment. It's killing us. My parents are getting older. They need to move into the house. We got to buy something that's got an ADU or something that's got an extra bedroom downstairs where they can move in. I'm getting a divorce. We got to sell the house. I got to downsize. I'm retiring. I'm moving, whatever. Why are you thinking about buying or selling? One of the biggest questions you can ask, and the one you don't want to forget. So, what's got you thinking about buying? That's what I ask when people come in open house. So, what's got you thinking about a new home? Wow, really? Tell me more about that. That's amazing. Let me ask you, what's that going to do for you and your family when that happens? Right? Tell me more. And what will that do for you and your family? This is going 3 levels deep, right? Kind of like when you're interviewing someone and they give you a reference, like we teach you at Keller Williams to go 3 deep on the references. Don't just talk to the first person, right? Because that's probably their best friend that they prepped. Say, hey, this person's going to call you. Make sure you tell them I pay my rent on time, right? Go 3 deep. Because when you go 3 deep, when you go to the third reference, you're going to hear you're going to hear something that you didn't hear from number 1 or number 2. And that can sway the decision one way or the other. When you go deep here, tell me more. And then what will that do for you and your family? This is when we are making that emotional connection right here, right here. What will that do for you and your family? Well, gosh, it's been my family's dream to own a home. My parents never owned a home. We were renters, and we've always dreamed of having a home. We'd be the first generation of my family to be homeowners. That's a big deal. And someone shares that dream with you, you think you've made an emotional connection with them? We do that, then it becomes easy to get contracts signed. This is what I'm talking about, right? We have a bold law at Keller Williams that says logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. And it's true, right? No one's gonna write an offer. I tell this to sellers all the time. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, no one's gonna write an offer on your home unless they come inside and have an emotional connection. You could be giving it away, and if that doesn't inspire them emotionally, they're still not going to move forward. So how we present and price and position your home so someone can walk in here and get emotionally tied to it, that's what our goal is. Just like when we walk into the home and we need to make an emotional connection with the sellers, the buyer needs to walk into the home and make a connection with the property. And when that happens, you better get out of their way because someone's buying a house. Any questions on this? This is huge. This is what I talk about making emotional connection, going levels deep. Understanding people. When we ask questions, right? Tell me more. What will that do for you? The more questions we ask, the better we control the conversation, the more answers we get, the deeper we go, we get to the truth. The truth is like at the core of an onion. And all these questions that we ask ascertain motivation and time frame and get us to the truth. And once we know the truth, then we can help someone. And when we know the truth, we can also use the truth as a stick and a carrot to move them in the right direction to help them get what they say they want, even though they may be acting against their own interest, which oftentimes can happen. When people get emotionally hung up in something, they start acting against their own best interest. And that's when we need to step in there and remind them of what they want, why they want it, and what it's going to do for them when they have it. All right, time for ahas. Who's got an aha for me? Who's got an aha for me? Well, other than a aha, I was actually thinking like an actual aha, like a light bulb moment. Aha. That's what I was talking about. Now, hopefully you guys picked up some of that stuff there. It's all about creating connection and building relationship. Yes, creating that emotional connection, keeping relationships going with clients to continue getting referrals. Yes, right? There's peaks when the 5% of people transact, and then there's the valleys of the 95% where it's our job to stay in communication with them, provide knowledge, information, and value. So when they are ready to transact, they'll think of us. Here's something my good friend Dave Jenks, may he rest in peace, the co-author of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, used to say, your success in real estate, and you'll want to write this down, your success in real estate is in direct proportion to the number of people who, when they think about real estate, think of you. Again, your success in real estate is in direct proportion to the number of people who, when they think about real estate, think of you. All right, moving right along. We got 30 minutes left. We're going to bring them on home. So post-lead follow-up. All right. So on the right here, this is one of Gary's intricate diagrams that you will find in the MREA that starts with lead capture, prospecting, and marketing. Now I'm going to tell you guys something. In the original Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, it said that you should be marketing focused and prospecting enhanced, right? And the reason they said that was because of the number of people that you need to be able to reach. You couldn't do so through your own individual prospecting efforts. You don't have enough time to call the number of people that you would need to call. There's not enough hours in a day for you to go door knock the number of people that you would need to effectively do so for you to get the numbers that then work in your favor as far as your business is concerned. When we had a shift in the market in 07, 08, and the shift book came out, they flipped it and said you should be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. And as a newer agent, you probably have more time prospecting than money marketing, right? So you can either buy the business through marketing or you can earn the business through prospecting. A nice combination of the two would be most effective, but this is important to understand when we talk about lead capture, prospecting, and marketing, right? These are both lines in the water and you're fishing. You want to have them both baited up, that's for certain. You don't want one of these poles laying on the bank. You want them both baited up and in the water. From our prospecting and marketing efforts, leads come into our database. Our database, we use to from our database, we have follow-up communications to form relationships. Once we've had that two-way communication, it goes from being a lead to a contact. This is the definition of it, right? The contact is that we've established a two-way communication. We sent a text, they replied. We asked a question, they answered. We called, they answered. We talk. That lead now becomes a contact because from this communication, we've asked them specific questions to ascertain motivation and time frame. Once we have them tagged accordingly as a contact and we know what their time frame to transact is, then we know how to cultivate these contacts for conversion, be it a 30, 60, 90, 3-month, 6-month, 9 months, 12-month period in which we communicate with them. That's why we get motivation and time frame. So we know how to communicate with someone. Someone that's not going to buy a home for a year doesn't need to hear from you every week. Someone that's looking to buy a home in 30 days, yeah, you definitely need to be talking to them every week. And if you're working with them, it's more so a daily communication or text outreach. We talked about that last week when we had the when they polled buyers and sellers, like the one thing, the biggest seller complaint is lack of communication from their agents. So we can't not over communicate, but we can definitely under communicate. And you never want your clients reaching out to you saying, hey, what's going on? That's not a good look. We always want to be the one in the front end of the communication and making the outreach. And then we cultivate contacts for conversion through interactive and needs-based offerings, right? We ask questions because questions reveal people's needs. I need a 3-bedroom home. I need to be in San Diego by Thanksgiving. I need to stay under $700,000. When we do a needs analysis at a buyer consultation, we help buyers understand what's important to them in the home, what are their must-haves, and what are their would like to haves. But we understand that there's no perfect house. So anytime we get a house where it checks off 3 or 4 of their must-haves and 1 or 2 are there we'd like to have, that's a home you should be writing an offer on. And the reason we do that needs analysis, like I said last week, is because it helps your buyer clients get clear on what it is that they want, and it helps you get clear on what it is that they want. So when you're searching for property every day on the MLS, or you're out previewing property on their behalf, and you walk into a home, you know immediately, oh, this is it. You get goosebumps because you're like, when can you come see this house? You got to get in here. This is perfect. It's got this, it's got that. It's even got the pool outside with the kidney shape and the slide. It's got everything. And then going back here, this client and referral loop, the new and repeat and referral. Here's a couple of stats. When they polled sellers, I think buyers and sellers, I think 73, a total of almost 73, 80% of buyers and sellers said they were happy with their service, either happy or very happy with the service from their agent. And yet only 28% used the agent again. So somewhere between 70 and 80+% of buyers and sellers say they were happy with the work that their agent did, and yet only 28% of them used them again. Why do you guys think that is the case? Lack of follow-up. Ding, 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 ding. Lisa Marie and TJ, you guys are on lack of follow-up, right? Now, if your follow-up game is tight, you will not be part of that 28%. Like you would have 75, 80% of your clients. Actually, all of them would work with you again, to be honest with you. If your follow-up game's tight, when people are ready to transact, if we've stayed in communication with them, they will use us, right? They've already said, if over 80% of your clients are happy with the job that you did, don't you think they would use you? I mean, would you use someone who you're about 80%? You know, I mean, I'm about 80% happy with my barber. He doesn't always do a good job. Sometimes he does a great job, but I've been going back to him and I pay him $50 every time I do it. It's the same thing. All right. We talked about that 1 to cement. What does that look like? It's a high value touch, solidifies the relationship you have, establish the door, future interactions. Something personal. We talked about that, right? High value. You know, how can you connect at a deep enough level? And if you had to do one, send them a handwritten note. That means you trust your barber. I do. It also means that I don't want to go through trial and error of trying to find another barber who may be a little bit better sometimes and maybe a little worse than other times, which is how most of us live, right? So if a real estate agent does a good enough job and you're happy with it, then you would use them again. Same thing. 1 to cement. I would send a handwritten card. Very few things are more powerful than a handwritten card. And what does it say in a world of technology where everything is moving at lightning speed? That someone cared enough about me to take the time to express their thought as written word by hand. That is what it means. And we don't see that very often. 2 centuries ago, that's the only thing you saw was a handwritten letter that took 2 weeks to get to the destination. But you want to have impact, send someone a handwritten letter and thanking them. Or drop a Starbucks gift card in there, or a $2 bill, or anything in there. Handwritten notes are powerful. All right. We're not quite done yet, but I would like you guys to scan this code here, and this is where you're going to be able to go give me an evaluation. If you go to, you can scan this code, it'll take you to KWU eval, and then event would be Ignite. It will be virtual. My name is Anthony Rollins, and this is Ignite Session 10, Keep Every Lead, Section Lead Follow-Up. And if you guys could go and give me an evaluation, it'd be greatly appreciated. Like I said, when we hopped on, you know, training is one of the things that I love to do. I love coaching. I love training. I love sharing my 20 plus years of knowledge and information with agents. And the hope is that there is something that one of you takes away that's going to expand your thinking and change how you look at things moving forward. Right? It's impossible to spark everyone, although we can always attempt to. And yet there's something within someone that's going to ignite that hopefully is going to change their path. And that's why we do what we do. Valeria, thank you. All right, KW Cares. I want to talk a little bit about this. KW Cares is the 501c3 nonprofit. This is culture. This is why you are at this company. You're at this company because there's outside the training and education, we're a culture-based company. And there's something about the way Keller Williams operates that makes people feel good, right? We're not a good fit for everyone because not everyone needs what we offer in regard to training and education and technology and support. And yet we're not a good cultural fit. So we are selective in like who comes to this company. Because selling it, it's more than selling a lot of homes that makes you eligible for KW. It's really about, are you in alignment with the culture? And the mission of KW Cares is together we empower, support, and uplift our KW family during times of hardship due to sudden emergencies. It's a nonprofit dedicated to serving KW associates and their qualifying family members experiencing hardship as a result of a sudden emergency. Emergency grants up to $5,000, life-altering grants up to $30,000. You name it. You know, Hurricane Harvey in 2017, the floods, North Carolina, the hurricanes in Florida, the fires in California. It doesn't matter where you live, most likely with all the things pertaining to global warming and these events that are taking place. There's a good chance that you're going to be impacted by something. And when that happens, and you're the person experiencing the hardship and you're not watching TV, you're the person on TV or your neighborhood is on TV, that's when you're going to be glad that you work with a company like KW because we show up big for our agents. And that's a difference that makes a difference. That's a value-driven bonus to being with this company. That's how we connect at an emotional level with our agents. And why agents say, I'm KW for life. Because the other brokerages are out there, they don't do this. And I worked through Hurricane Harvey in Houston in 2017. And how our agents stepped up and what they did, unbelievable, unbelievable. And it's always the same. Always the same. Katrina, you name it. So get to know KW Cares, and there's an opportunity for you to donate automatically through your transactions on the green sheet. You can mark, hey, $5 donation, $10 donation, whatever you want, but it's a good habit to form, right? And it's the law of reciprocity. KW Next Gen, another nonprofit that is close to my heart. Mission here is to empower and equip the next generation of leaders and entrepreneurs with the tools needed to remove limiting beliefs, take action, and live a big life. So we serve young professionals under the age of 30, typically like junior, senior in high school, and then college students. And KW Next Gen instructors teach Quantum Leap, which is a class that Gary Keller devised that really just helps you go deep on who you are and get a better understanding of you as a person, which is important. And it's one of the things that I love about this company is that, this company does things to help you discover you that just doesn't happen in other places. And most people don't even, they haven't even gone deep enough in their own life to have a clear understanding of who they are, what matters to them, what makes them tick, and what they want in this thing called life. And when you can start to get in better communication and that person in the mirror at a higher level, life starts getting better. So this is another opportunity where you can either donate to KW Next Gen, or you can become a KW Next Gen instructor and be able to go teach Quantum Leap at high schools, at colleges, and just really, at the community level, give back to the communities that you serve. And it's a great program. And they also offer scholarships for young adults who can, launch ideas, businesses, college preparation, all these things that make an impact. It's not about selling real estate. It's about how can we impact and grow along the way. And when we do that, then we sell homes as a byproduct of those efforts. All right. Any closing out ahas? Anyone closing out ahas? This has been so informational. Laura Keys, thank you. Dylan says, aha, aha. All right, who's got one more? Who's got a aha, aha? Just the same theme of improving the follow-up game. Yes, gotta have a strong follow-up game. Great info. Thank you guys for showing up here. Your success system. Just going through this real quick. How many conversations are you having a day? Are you adding to your database? Handwritten notes, social media engagement. In fact, I'm going to drop this on you guys right now because we're just about there. So I'm going to go back to here. Let me get this going again. I'm going to share this information with you guys and get from the chat what I told you I was going to share with you. And then it'll also go out for the people who didn't stay to the end and they missed out on the good stuff. All right, D2 schedule, MREA. And then I'm going to show you guys this, and I'm going to drop it in the chat. This was shared with me from a MAPS coach just a couple weeks ago. And it's called a pipeline tool. So this is how you stay in front of the leads, right? And staying in front of your business. With the pipeline tool, she's a director of operations on a huge mega team out of Missouri. Her name is Monica Kelts. She's a stellar rock star DOO. And every week, every Monday, she has a pipeline report meeting with the agents on the team. And then the agents report the 5, 15, 5. So the 5 are the 5 leads who are most likely to transact in the next 30 days. The 15 are the 15 leads who are 90 days out, right? 30 to 90 days out. And then the 5 is the 5 people that you're adding to your database every single week. So if you want to have conversations with your accountability partner or conversations with yourself on a Sunday as you're setting your week up for success, do a pipeline review. Who's most likely to transact? And what do they need from me? right? We can do it in this pipeline tool. We can also do this in command through our opportunities. In fact, I'm just going to share this with, I'm going to drop this, I'm going to share this link with you guys. It's a Google link. And then what you've got to do is save a copy. Don't use the copy that I from the link that I send you, but save a copy, and then you can use this, have your own copy. All right, so there is the pipeline tool. And then I want to show you guys how we can also track our pipeline and stay in front of our business through opportunities in command. Oh, where's my command? Okay, here it is. Where's command? All right. And this would be good to close out on because if you guys, I don't know how long you've been licensed. I'm sure you guys are mostly 6 to 12 months, if not even less than that. Learn how to navigate command. The classes that we teach here on tech are just as important as the ones that we teach on how to be a successful agent, because here's the deal. You need systems and tools to be able to run the business. You can't keep it all up here. That's the dumbest thing you can think of in the world, is that you're going to figure it out all here or have post-it notes all over your wall. Opportunities. Right. So this is a variation of a pipeline report, right? Who are we cultivating? We go from cultivating, staying in communication, providing value until we schedule an appointment. And for me, anyone that's looking to transact within the next 0 to 12 months, get them on a phone, get them on a Zoom, meet them face to face. Meet them face to face or on a Zoom call and create an emotional connection. Then you can spend the next 11 months providing value and educating and informing them. So when they are ready to transact in that 30-day time frame, they've been educated, they've been informed, they're knowledgeable, and you have instilled trust and confidence. And they're ready to rock and roll. And then you can move them through the pipeline. So when I go here, I can just see, right? Who are my leads that are searching? Who do I need to call? What leads am I showing property to? Who's under contract? And then as people move from stage to stage, we just move them over, right? And this becomes a memory jogger of who you should be communicating with, who you should be calling, who needs something. So the game that you play is like, what does Steve Sandoval need from me where I can move him from searching to showing? What does Ahmed need from me so he can go from showing to under contract? And actually just wrote an offer for Ahmed today, so keep your fingers crossed. But that's how we use this. We have to be able to kind of gamify what we do in this business to be able to track it. So we use opportunities for that. And then the other way we use opportunities is that we look at what our potential business opportunity is and our probable business. So when we look at this, I've got a potential of $1.6 million worth of business, and then a probable that's closer in this range based on where these people are here, 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 and here. And then when we get our opportunities up to a certain number, then we can just gamify and say, my goal is to close blank percent of my probable opportunities by December 31st, and then a blank percentage moving into 2026. All right, any questions on any of this here? Learn your command. Learn how to function within command. It's important. It's really good stuff there. Miriam, 1 month, he's new. All right. I think that is about it, unless you guys have questions. If you have any questions, now would be the time to ask them. There is no thing as a dumb question. The only thing that's dumb is not asking the question and then not learning the knowledge. And remember to celebrate your successes, even the small ones, even when you just show up, right? Showing up is half the battle, right? Celebrate the small wins, because life is really about the small wins. Like we have these high peaks, these apexes in life, but those happen like 3, 4, 5 times in a lifetime. The small victories. I sat in open house and got a lead. I followed up with the lead. I set an appointment. I signed a buyer broker agreement. I got my first real buyer. Celebrate that. And when you get paid on that deal, remember that feeling, right? Remember the feeling of what it feels like to receive a commission check. So when it's time to go out and prospect, if you can bring that feeling of receiving that check to that moment of picking up a phone and calling someone, you'd be calling all day. You'd be calling all day. All right, so you guys prepare for session 11, which will take place tomorrow, following up with your leads. We all know follow-up game is tight, and that's what we're going to be working on. And like I said, that's it. So I'm going to play you guys out because that's what I do. And thank you for being here. And I might be back next week. I am going to be back next week. I'm not going to say what day. So if you guys want to come back, make sure you don't miss a class next week because I will be here and we're going to be talking about sellers when I teach. So thank you guys. Peace and blessings. Have an amazing evening and let's do it.
Oh, I could hide neath the wings of the bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never ring, but it rings and I rise, wipe the sleep